This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Aaron P. Woods. Aaron, how's it going?
Man, it's going good. Paul, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good. Yeah, no, appreciate you coming on. So you're the founder of Podpal. Could you give me a brief background of what Podpal is and then how you came about it?
For sure, man. Podpal is the all-in-one podcast management platform. We make it easy for podcasters to plan, publish, and promote their show without all the stress and clutter, man. And I know you can relate with that because you were one of the people that I interviewed when we were first kind of trying to go through the problem analysis and understand what podcasters really wanted. How this idea came about actually was, my wife, Tanya, was starting her podcast and she was trying to get her show off the ground and ran into some of those administrative burden of podcasting, and a lot of podcasters are burning out because of all the stuff, man. There's not just sitting down behind this mic recording the show like we're doing now. You had to schedule me, we had to align our calendars, there's making sure that you have your show notes in place and, releasing on time. There's a lot of bookkeeping and a lot of sort of organization for a very productive show, and a show that releases regularly. And so what Podpal does is really bring that organization, management, productivity to the forefront of our application and make it easy for people to stay on track and keep making awesome content like we're doing right now.
Yeah, definitely. Like I could just even going back to when I first started, it was just like funny because I just bought like a mic and then I was just doing audio at the time and I was literally calling people and then I just put the mic up to the phone, like straight up. Like it's great. It's crazy to think about now because it's just like funny, but that's how I was doing it at first. And then, just like learning stuff. I mean, the same thing, like you said, like, just like there's so much stuff. Like even I don't remember how long our session was, but I'm pretty sure it ran over because we talked for like probably like an hour or more, just about everything. And
Right.
So yeah, it's just like crazy. And then, like the other, like, I guess, myth is that people think like podcasting is easy to do. So that's like pretty funny. Like, yeah, it's easy once you get it set up and mic'd up and all that. But then, like you said, like the after publishing and editing and getting it all ready and timing everybody up and things like that. So yeah, I know you have a tech background and you have an engineering background. So tell me a little bit how you got into, well, I'm assuming you went to school for engineering and then you got into tech.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's funny, I guess average to savage, that does relates. I relate to that phrase quite a bit, even though I don't ever consider myself average at any point, but I obviously could be above average, but with respect to technology, I was very average. I started out in engineering, structural engineering, on the civil discipline. And so I was doing building design out in Seattle. Actually, one of my first projects was to help design Amazon's headquarters out there in Seattle, which was pretty dope. But that's a completely different way of utilizing that problem solving background than IT, where, people are coding different languages, there's product management, there's all these other aspects of technology that I didn't really understand. And so I had to really grow in that. And the way I did that was really just starting my own businesses, being an entrepreneur, getting out there and actively putting into practice the things that I was reading about, the things that I was studying on the side, while I was working for these other big engineering companies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I even did some research and there's an article and it says not your average engineer. So it backs it backs up what you said, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I do feel like engineering it boils down to this. It boils down to being a problem solver and being able to understand a problem well, and then putting together a solution in a unique way that actually solves that real problem, right? And so as a structural engineer and as a researcher back in college when I'm doing my master's and stuff back at UT, I would be in the lab and have to do experiments and, iterate and try to continue changing different controls of the experiment to determine what was the actual solution. And so all of that has really helped me when it comes to developing Podpal because, I actually do have those fundamental skills. It's just that, I wasn't utilizing them in that particular field. Right. So it's just like somebody who plays, who play soccer, who might have the agility, but they've never played American football, but they also have a lot of agility and swiftness because of the type of sport that they play. So I'm trying to be an athlete, and I consider myself that. So that's where the not your average engineer comes from. It's just being able to play multiple positions and use that knowledge in a very unconventional way. And so that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's funny that you said that too. Just like I saw like the quote that it says like jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
But then like the full quote is like a jack of all trades is a master of none, but often better than a master of one.
There you go.
Yeah, so I like that, and I like that you said that because like I feel like with all the things you already done, you're a jack of all trades. So and then just going into all this, I know you've been doing it since 2018, right? You created it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, like, what is the journey been like? Just starting up your own business, and like, what are some obstacles that you overcome and things of that nature?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't even know how to really start with that, because like as founding anything and bringing up something from the dirt is very difficult. One of the biggest difficulties that I found is getting other people to believe in your vision, right?
Mm.
Like especially in today's society where everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, everybody has a side thing that they're doing. They're influencer of this. They've got this content creation channel they're doing over here, this podcast. So going out and finding other talent to join you in the beginning phases, I find is pretty challenging because people are pretty ambitious these days. That's just like, the dream that's being proliferated all over our, society and media. So that was really difficult, but I was fortunate to find a couple of humble individuals who said, you know what, Aaron, I see what you see, and I want to link up with you to help build this. And that's a huge part of why we're sitting here today with the actual working software versus last time I talked to you, which was it was still prototypes and we were clicking around on basically screenshots. And so I'm really grateful for that part of the journey and learning how to basically put my vision together in such a way that others could get excited about it, that they could get inspired and see that, wow, this isn't just, some idea you just kind of came up with. This is pretty fully fleshed out. Like I did quite a bit of, research with folks like yourself. You were like one of 12 people that I sat down and talked with at length to really formulate the problem statement for the app, right? And so when I was going out and recruiting some talent, I showed them all that video. I actually put a condensed version of that together so that way they could see, wow, this is actually pretty vetted. Like you went and talked to people, you did research, you spent some money on this. If you don't invest in your business, you can't expect other people to invest in your business. And that goes to all the way down to talent, all the way up to investors, so you have to put in the work and, do some of that grunt work and back leg work so that way people can really see the vision that you see in your mind. So that's been one of the things that's really been a big part of the journey. I don't know, I guess secondly, learning, obviously to hear no, being okay with that, being okay with the fact that everybody's not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are going to say, I don't really get it. Everybody doesn't have to get it. It comes down to you getting it and really making sure that you do take what I call a dispassionate evaluation of your idea, right? Because ideas are a dime a dozen. Everybody has ideas, but it's going out and validating, is it a real problem? And is it something that you're solving in a way that people want? You can't get caught up in just, oh, I love my baby because I had the baby. You have to see, do other people really understand, mostly your customers? Does your customer understand what it is that you're trying to deliver? And do they see the same value in it that you do? I think that's really important. In terms of all the other naysayers or friends or investors or other, people who may or may not see it, that really doesn't matter. Does your customer understand it? Do they see it? Do they agree with
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you got somebody saying like, yo, what's a podcast?
Or why do I need a podcast management system?
Yeah.
And once you get into it deep enough,
you'll know.
Figure out why.
I mean, if you had to ask that question, then you haven't done it enough times you haven't done a podcast enough to see it.
Right.
But yeah, so what about like, say, what were your goals like when you first started in 2018, and like, and like what goals like what are the new goals? Like what has changed like since then, like since launching and things like that?
Yeah, I think the initial goals had to do with proving to myself whether or not this was an actual need. Was this a real market need? Because again, if somebody doesn't actually need it, then you're actually fooling yourself. You
Mhm.
build, people are doing every day, they're building stuff that people don't need, and then they wonder why it doesn't sell or why they can't get to market or get the adoption or what have you, is because they never really did a thorough needs analysis to figure out if they were even solving the right problem. So that was goal number one. Am I solving the right problem? And then second one was to, grow a team around it and actually get people to build it with me. And so I got that far. And so now the next step is really getting customer acquisition, getting people on the app, getting people, helping people through what we've built, having those testimonials of people saying, man, before I started podcasting with Podpal, I was only releasing an episode a month, and now I'm releasing an episode every week. Those are the type of testimonies I'm looking for moving forward, so that we can, hopefully convince investors and stuff that, hey, they should come along this journey with us and really, really blow it out the water.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I know you've been to a lot of different like conferences and things like that. What has been feedback you're getting from the people?
Yeah, it's really interesting. The first conference we went to was in 2019. We went to a conference called Podcast Movement. And during that conference, all we had was a screenshot of the software. I had some little, flyers that we were handing out, but we didn't have anything that was working, anything that people could actually sign up for. But that was, again, part of testing the theory of, is this a real problem? Is this something that people need a solution to? And during that conference, I think over the course of like 3 or 4 days, we had almost 200 people sign up for the app, just personal interactions that we had with folks. And if we didn't even have an app, it was just like, man, I want to be on the wait list for this. So there was a lot of excitement around the idea of this type of solution. So then you fast forward a year later or 2 years later, and we went back to that same conference as a presenting company and hosted an event where we had another 200 podcasters show up, and we're even more excited. And if you go to the Podpal Instagram page, you can see some of those testimonials of what folks had to say, how they were, really grateful to see an application like this come online, and that they've been struggling with this sort of podcast management, project management, becoming an administrator of their show and not being able to release as much content as they really could if they had a system in place. And so a lot of positive feedback. We've had people sign up for the app since then. I've gotten a ton of emails and DMs asking, to meet with me and to learn more about the application. So I think we accomplished our mission, this last conference, of really getting the word out there, and we're just hoping to continue to grow off of that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And recently, I know you got two separate awards or grants, maybe you want to say. You got the Hennessy Never Stop Never Settle society, and then I know you literally, I think you literally just got the Google one too. So
Yeah,
tell me a little bit about both of those and like how those came about, and like what was like the application process or things like that about.
for sure. Yeah, well, big shout out to Joey Womack from Goody Nation for putting me on to some of these options out there, or opportunities, I would say. Also, Jewel Burks at Google for Startups. You know, the Hennessy grant came about because I got an email from Joey, who's big in the Black tech community. It was like, hey, Aaron, check out this opportunity. This might fit you. Got it through an email, looked it up, and was like, man, this looks dope. This looks like something that really that I think I have a chance at winning. So I put in the application online, went through a couple interview process, and next thing I know, I was getting notified that we were one of 20 companies to be selected in the U.S. for this awesome award. And then the Google for Startups award, it's really funding more than it is an award. They don't really consider this one a grant as much as it is actual investment into Podpal. That one, I was part of something called Google for Startups at Atlanta Founders Academy, in which several founders in the Atlanta community joined up with Google for an 8-month, somewhat like an accelerator program where they taught us about sales and marketing and ad placement and how to grow your team and all those sorts of things. And at the end of that 8 months, you become eligible to apply for one of their Black founder fund. And so last year, the Black Founders Fund was a $5 million investment across, I think, 60 plus founders. And then this year they did another $5 million investment into 50 founders. So each of us receiving $100,000 in funding from Google. So that's a pretty big deal, to have the branding and the association and also the financial backing from such big brands like Hennessy and Google. The Hennessy grant was a $50,000 grant. So in 1 month, we just brought in about $150,000 of capital to help push this business forward. And that's a big deal, given that up to now, we haven't had a single dollar come in the door. The folks that I brought onto the team, I exchanged equity to them. So they were working for equity in exchange for their time. And so none of us have had any kind of paycheck from this. I've been running this off of me and my wife's investment, from our own bank account, basically, from day one, running up credit cards, paying them down, all that sort of thing, because we believe in the vision. So to finally have such big names in the industry come behind us and give us some good press as well as some coins in the bank feels good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and congrats on that. I don't know if I said that before, but yeah, that's big. I mean, I remember I saw it. I don't even know. I don't know if the Google one came out. I think the Google one came out right after I messaged you. I said, let's get you on the pod. So that was dope. That was dope too that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even like the Hennessy one, I believe when we talked, I thought it was just like a sponsorship. So that's awesome that it was bigger than that too.
Yeah, it was actually funding as well.
Yeah. So with those two grants, like what I know you kind of just mentioned, but what's your like big plan to use that money?
Yeah, a big part of that is marketing, user acquisition. We've fortunately been able to pay down a little bit of debt with that. Like I said, we didn't have any cash flow coming in to the business for 3 years. So, basically get us to the place where we can have the type of customers and the traction that we need to attract a bigger investment to really, run this company the way it should be. So that's really the core focus.
Yeah, definitely. And then what's your approach? I know you just said you're investing more money into marketing, but what's your approach to acquire a new customer, and like where could people go to sign up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's great is that you can sign up right now online at podpal.com for free. That may or may not last too much longer. We have a free plan where if you sign up now, the first 6 episodes that you publish are hosted on Podpal and distributed, all that kind of stuff, absolutely free. So, and if you have an existing show, we allow for you to import that show, like Average to Savage is coming over after this call. We can import your show literally in about 30 seconds from whatever host that you're on today. So we're going to be running part of that money that we're talking about. We'll be running like a switch to Podpal campaign, so people understand just how easy it is to switch. So yeah.
Yeah, I might have to become some kind of ambassador, or like maybe I need like 1% or some shit.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, and then like how many is there a number of podcasts like on the platform right now?
Yeah, we have I think over 100 people already who are podcasting on our platform.
Oh,
and we just came out like 2 weeks ago with a launch and haven't put any big marketing push yet, but yeah, it'll be a lot more before we know it.
Gotcha. And what advice would you give to another fellow entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, like trying to start their own business?
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely read, get some good books on your hand that you got to feed your mind first. It's all about a mindset. If you don't have the mindset of an entrepreneur, you really can't walk in the spirit of one. So I feel like it starts with where you're at mentally first. And some books that I would recommend include Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Mindset, Start with Why, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And also one of the books I'm reading right now, or kind of poking through, is called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Those are all really good starters, just to kind of get your mind around how entrepreneurs think. They're not thinking about, you know, they're not overly consumed with risk. They're not overly consumed with people's opinions, what people have to say about things. And so just to kind of get that sort of mindset in you will help you along your journey. So I would say definitely be a voracious reader. I wasn't that before, kind of starting these companies. And once I started reading some of these books, it really started kickstarting me into really walking into that purpose. The other thing I would say is, take a bet on yourself, even if it's a small bet. It doesn't have to be huge. I think a lot of times people think, oh, I gotta have XYZ amount of money before I can start my business. Like, just take $100 bet on yourself. Honestly, that was the first bet that I made on Podpal, was interviewing you and several other people. And if you remember, I said, when I hit you up in Instagram, I was like, hey man, I'll give you a $25 Amazon gift card if you'll just spend an hour with me talking about your problems in podcasting. Like, that was an investment. It was very small, but across the 10 people, that added up to whatever it was, $250, right? So that was a $250 investment I made into my idea at that time to figure out if it was worth anything. And small little investments like that really help you keep going when it comes down to it, because then you start, your belief goes further when it's attached to something. So investing of your time, your money, your energy, and also finding ways to add value. Your business as an entrepreneur, everything shouldn't be all about you. You should be looking for ways to add value to others. So even on all those calls, those initial calls, and even this call, all the way up to this very day, our mantra, on our shirt, Podpal, is a podcaster's best friend. So the entire brand is around being friendly and making sure that we're the ones extending ourselves to others. So if I'm not doing that, then I'm really not living the belief and the mantra and the vision behind the brand. So, have your brand, have what you do, go beyond you, and if it goes beyond you, I think it can go far. If it's just in the context of you being an influencer, you being great, you being lifted up, that's just not how I get down, and I think that most of the successful entrepreneurs that I know add more value than they receive. And that's really the name of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm kind of upset you never told me that you played football at Jacksonville State.
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't tell you that.
Nah. So tell me how like maybe sports and like business helped you out, or just like the mindset, because I know they always say like athletes have like the best work ethic.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely one-to-one with everything that I do. I played college football at Jacksonville University, played free safety. I was number 27, definitely came downhill, and did what I needed to do, but that mindset, man. I can still hear Coach Patrick, our strength and conditioning coach. I can hear him in my ear every day, like literally in everything that I do, saying finish, finish strong, execute, results, those sorts of mantras that you just hear around the weight room and with your teammates, last forever, even though those days are well gone for me, the vision of them, the memory and the experience never leaves you. And so I definitely carry that into work and into how I run my teams, and just the spirit of teamwork. Collaboration is everything. I think that a lot of people try to get stuff off the ground on their own. They don't realize the value of getting input and insights from other people. So working very hard to find teammates, mentors, coaches, anybody of that nature who is willing to share even a little bit of a nugget with you is extremely important. Coaching is it can't be, I can't emphasize that more. So as an entrepreneur, you have to go and create that atmosphere for yourself. And that's difficult to do, but, reaching out to someone who has more experience, or, a little time on their hands to kind of give you that little jolt of energy, or hold you accountable, is really, really valuable. So yeah, absolutely, man. I couldn't do what I do without that sports history and background. And not everybody's gonna have that, but you can still
Yeah,
create a lot of that for yourself.
yeah, for sure. All right, you ready for some fun questions?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, what's your favorite food?
Um, I mean, I'm from the South, man, so I like fried chicken, greens, mac and cheese, all that soul food is really good. My favorite, absolute favorite food, I guess, is really a sweet pound cake.
All right. What's your favorite song right now?
Probably Dedication by Nipsey Hussle, even though that's kind of old.
All
It's
right.
still that one drives me. That's what
All right, I'll take it.
put on when I need to get ready for a meeting or something. That's the one. Yeah.
What do you like to do in your free time?
Spend time with my kids and play acoustic guitar.
All right, you good at playing guitar?
I'm all right. Yeah. There's some stuff on my
Not
page.
not
There's some stuff
average.
on
Just not.
well, I probably am average.
What's something what's something else like you want to do, like, I don't know, entrepreneur wise, or like just like anything, like any other goals or anything like that?
Like another venture or something.
Yeah.
Well, personal goal would be to like I won't say climb Mount Everest, but do something very adventurous like that, skydiving, or I'm a pretty adventurous person, but I don't have any big ones on my list. Like like going, I wouldn't go bungee jumping or nothing crazy like that, but I might do skydiving. In terms of like a business goal or another venture, I think it would be really cool to create like basically my son is on autism spectrum, and so he goes to a school called the Lionheart School, which is a school that caters specifically to the needs of people on the spectrum. And it's an awesome school, but it's really expensive to attend. And we're just now finally in a position as a family to like send him there. But way back in his journey, he could have really benefited from that. So I think a really cool thing to do would be able to stand up more schools like Lionheart that would be like completely free. So the same expertise, same level of service and commitment and all that, but like the students who attend and the families who send their kids there can do it at a very, very, very like subsidized rate, or if not free, because there's I think the last stat was like 1 in 45 kids are diagnosed with autism today. And so there's a lot of kids around here who need that kind of help, but and even adults on the spectrum who need that kind of support and don't have it. So that's a big goal of mine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Aaron, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the listeners know where they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, man, you can follow me at Aaron P. Woods on all channels, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and then you can follow Podpal at Podpal on those same channels. We are at Podpal Inc. on some channels, but if you put in Podpal, will come up.